Imagine the unthinkable. A mother, distraught, claiming her children have been snatched into the night. A nation holds its breath, glued to the television, praying for a miracle. For 9 agonizing days in 1994, the face of Susan Smith was the face of a grieving parent, a victim of a cruel, random crime. But the truth, when it finally surfaced, was a horror far more calculated and devastating than anyone could have imagined. This is the story of a deception that shocked a generation, and the unspeakable tragedy that lay beneath the tears. Before we dive into the dark heart of this case, a quick reminder. If you want to make sure you don't miss any future episodes of the Calendar of Crime, hit that like button, share this video with a fellow true crime fan, and most importantly, subscribe and ring the notification bell. Your support helps us keep bringing you these deep dives into history's most chilling crimes. The date was October 25, 1994, in Union, South Carolina. Susan Smith, a 23-year-old mother, pulled up to a stop sign and claimed her life was shattered. She told police a black man, armed and masked, had carjacked her, driving away with her 2 young sons, 3-year-old Michael and 14-month-old Alex, still strapped into their car seats. The vehicle, a 1990 Mazda Protégé, was the focus of an immediate, massive manhunt. The story was compelling, and the media frenzy began instantly. Susan made tearful public pleas, begging for the safe return of her boys. She was the picture of a victim, her anguish broadcast across the country. The search efforts were unprecedented for the small community, involving the FBI and hundreds of volunteers. The public rallied around Susan, offering prayers and support, but cracks soon began to appear in her narrative. Investigators noted inconsistencies in her story. Why did she wait so long to report the carjacking? Why did she seem so calm at times, only to break down on cue for the cameras? The focus of the investigation slowly began to shift from the search for a carjacker to the woman who reported the crime. For 9 days, the lie held. 9 days of false hope, 9 days of a nation searching for a phantom criminal. But the pressure was mounting. The FBI, led by agents who specialized in behavioral analysis, began to focus their efforts entirely on Susan. They knew with a chilling certainty that the carjacking story was fabricated. On November 3, 1994, Susan Smith was brought in for a final, intense round of questioning. Facing the overwhelming evidence and the psychological weight of her deception, Susan finally broke. The confession was slow, agonizing, and utterly devastating. She admitted there was no carjacker. There was no kidnapping. The truth was that Susan herself had driven her car to the edge of John D. Long Lake, unbuckled her seatbelt, and let the car roll down the ramp and into the dark water, with Michael and Alex still inside. Her motive, a twisted desire to be free to pursue a relationship with her former lover, Tom Finley, who did not want the responsibility of a ready-made family. The recovery of the car from the murky depths of John D. Long Lake was a moment of national reckoning. On November 4th, the Mazda was pulled from the water, and inside, the bodies of Michael and Alex were found, still strapped into their car seats. The image of the submerged car, and the knowledge of what lay within, became a horrifying symbol of the case. The nation's sympathy instantly turned to outrage. The woman who had been the object of nationwide prayer was now revealed as a cold-blooded killer. The initial false accusation against an anonymous black man also brought a sharp focus to issues of racial bias and the quickness with which a narrative can be accepted. Susan Smith was immediately charged with 2 counts of murder. The trial, which began in mid-1995, was a media circus. The prosecution argued for the death penalty, painting a picture of a selfish woman who consciously chose to sacrifice her children for her own desires. The defense argued for leniency, citing Susan's troubled past, including sexual abuse and depression. The jury heard testimony about Susan's volatile emotional state, her suicide attempts, and her desperate attempts to keep her relationship with Finlay. But the image of the 2 little boys, drowned by the person they trusted most, was too powerful. On July 22, 1995, the jury returned its verdict, guilty on both counts of murder. The sentencing phase was equally contentious. After hours of deliberation, the jury opted for a sentence of life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 30 years rather than the death penalty. The decision was a small concession to the defense's argument regarding her mental state, but it ensured she would spend the vast majority of her life behind bars. Susan Smith has been incarcerated ever since. She became eligible for parole in 2024, a date that brought the case back into the national spotlight, reopening old wounds for the family and the community of Union. The Susan Smith case left an indelible mark on American true crime. It served as a stark reminder that the most monstrous acts can be committed by those who appear the most innocent. It changed the way the public and the media approached missing persons cases, introducing a new level of skepticism when a parent is the primary source of information. In November 2024, Susan Smith faced the parole board. Her ex-husband and the father of the boys, David Smith, and other family members vehemently opposed her release. After a brief hearing, the board unanimously denied her parole, ensuring she will remain behind bars for at least another 3 years. The tragedy of Michael and Alex Smith remains a haunting chapter in American history, a case where a mother's betrayal transcended the personal and became a national nightmare. The calendar of crime continues to turn, but the year 1994 will forever be marked by the devastating deception of Susan Smith. The memory of Michael and Alex serves as a somber reminder of the darkness that can hide in plain sight. What are your thoughts on this case? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this deep dive compelling, please like, share, and subscribe for future episodes from the Calendar of Crime.